Alright, folks. Send money there. Follow me there. We're doing something different today. And you might have guessed by the title. As I am a mod, it's kind of recent, but I am a mod on the speedrun.com boards for the speedrunning for XCOM. And we have discovered that there is a disparity in the loading times between some of the emulators and the original PlayStation. So I'll be doing some testing today to see what the load times just up to the first UFO. So not a lot of time going on. But we're just going to check the load times. Because I'll be checking them on the PlayStation 2, and BizHawk 2.8. And if I have time after that, I'll download and install BizHawk 2.10, I think is the newest version. Sorry. I still have to do everything in the right order for this to work. So yeah, we're just gonna give this a go. Not pressing the button yet. Okay. We're gonna do this about 4 or 5 times. I mean, it's not gonna be fully scientific. On each platform that I'm trying it on. Just give ourselves a very, like I said, unscientific check of it. My side-by-side's showing around 50 to 59 seconds on the original PlayStation. Okay, 54 seconds. Okay. This loading screen doesn't matter, but we should get a good rough guess based off of the I'll get there. This loading screen doesn't seem to take too long. Because from start to finish of the UFO is 2.5 minutes. So it shouldn't take me long to get 5 data points. Per console. Well, it doesn't matter. That does not matter. Left to be Borkin. Hey, Jadlers. Ooh, sneaky. So that took an hour, 1 minute, 2 seconds. Okay. So me and Will made me a mod on the speedrun.com website, and we noticed that there's a significant difference in load times between the emulator and the PlayStation, and even between emulators. So I'm doing some testing today, just to check to see what we're dealing with. But give me a second. Lefty be Borkin, and I need to check to make sure there ain't nobody in. Well, his world record time, the emulator did the load time into the first UFO from the geoscape to the first UFO in 30 seconds. My PlayStation is taking 54. At best. Yeah, so me and him I'm working through this because me and him are going to make a decision on what emulators we're going to allow, if any, for this, or if we may even have to split up the leaderboard between emulator and original hardware too, depending on the difference. Now, I mean, it didn't matter when there's only one person on the leaderboard, but now there's two, and if anybody else wants to come in, that can be a difference. I mean, even my BizHawk was a little bit faster than the PlayStation when I did mine on that. Which means my personal best better than all my personal bests on the PlayStation is significantly better than they were on the first one. So I'm doing about five runs through the first UFO. And I'm going to check it on the PlayStation 2 because the PlayStation 2 may actually load it faster, it being a newer system. Fuck. Yeah. But what I'm messing up now is... Oh, I made it. Is actually just the basics of it. No, I've never heard about it. But I mean, even the PlayStation 1 has a wide range of loading times, which is going to happen being on original hardware. Right now, I have almost a 10-second difference between my fastest and slowest on that. But I don't think we're going to get any less than 50 seconds. Wow. So that was a minute. Wow. Yeah. Well, in this case, everything here is pretty clean and pretty new. But I mean, I've got when I was checking my side by sides of some of my VODs last night, I was getting in the 50-second range for this. So it seems like that's about where it's going to be for the PlayStation. Now, I don't mind. I personally won't be against emulators being used on the same leaderboard as a PlayStation, but as long as the loading times are in the same range as the PlayStation. But if it's going to be significantly faster, we can't use that emulator in the thing, and we're going to end up having to probably limit what emulators can be used in the running of this game. And Will has already admitted he'll pull his high score off the leaderboard if we end up getting to that point because of how much faster his runs. But I'm looking to do the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Emo Hawk 2.8, and then if I have time, I'll work on Emo Hawk 2.10, which is the newest version. Okay, you update them? No. Hi, Thor. Yeah, as I said, I expect a range of load times on the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2. On the emulators, I'm imagining they're going to be pretty much precise. They're going to be the exact same every time. Which is why doing TAS videos and running them through original hardware is harder to do on disc-based systems. It's taking just nearly right at a minute every time. So the fastest time I've had is 54 seconds. But it's been hovering around a minute each time. But, I mean, it'll be interesting. Yeah, exactly. 54 seconds has been the fastest. Right now, it's hovering right just between, for the most part, though, right at a minute, between a minute and a minute two. I mean, that could be just how fast, depending hugely on how fast I press the button. You know. So this is the last one on the original PlayStation 1, and I'm going to hook up my PlayStation 2 and check it on there. Assuming I do the UFO right. Yeah, as long as the emulator is falling within the range, though, I'm okay with using emulators. But if all the emulators are faster, then we may have to actually think about separating out the leaderboard between emulator and original hardware. And then leave it on and have it specifically on a specific emulator, so that way it's all even. And that's why I'm checking the PlayStation 2, because if the PlayStation 2 loads it faster, then the leaderboards need to be, if then we need to ban just using the PlayStation 2, because the PlayStation 2 is always backward compatible with with the PlayStation games. But I believe it uses an emulator of some sort to do that. See, and there's 52 seconds. All right. Discount. Oh, and it's that alone has that feature not being available on PlayStation 4 really is one of the reasons I didn't pick up PlayStation 4 for very long. Whereas on the PlayStation 5, where they said it was going to be backward compatible with PlayStation 4, I was more inclined to pick it up. And I'd be almost curious because you got two different versions of the PlayStation. You've got the big brick, which is what I've got. Yeah, I don't either. I already see there's speed up with the PlayStation 2. Except that loading screen is a lot slower. But that's not what we're checking. The opening of the windows, those are much slower. Then you have the PS1, which came out around the same time as the PlayStation 2, which was a much smaller. It was just it's same backbones and everything, but just much smaller version, which may actually be even a faster loading too, just depending because it's newer equipment. Yeah, PlayStation 2 loads much faster. That was 46 seconds on that, and that's I didn't. That was actually late to the button there. So I'm thinking if you're gonna, I'm thinking we're probably going to have to split the leaderboards up. Is my guess. It's going to have to be between emulator and original hardware. PlayStation 1, no PlayStation 2. I was right to check the PlayStation 2, though. Fuck. That was me just... Hey, Lefty. What you doing, buddy? Getting in trouble? Huh? Getting in trouble? Coming to tell on yourself? Tap, 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 tap. Get down. Get down, buddy. Yeah, because it was backwards compatible is one of the main reasons back in the day with the PlayStation 2 that I did go ahead and pre-order it to get it on launch day. Yes, I dated myself. And even then, there were so many pre-orders. Since I didn't have it paid off, I just put a down payment on it. I wasn't allowed to go get mine until a week later. That original PlayStation 2 is sitting right beside here. It's running XCOM. 46 seconds. Seems to be pretty consistent there. Yeah. That is true. So I was driving truck at the time the PlayStation 5 came out. I don't do anymore. But I had my phone open up and I was refreshing the page for the pre-orders, and as soon as the pre-orders came up, I pulled my ass over and I pre-ordered my PlayStation 5 right there on the side of the road. So I was able to get mine. They shipped it on launch day, but I didn't get it for a couple days. But I had my PlayStation 5 within the first week too. PlayStation 3, I had that pretty close to opening day. I don't remember pre-ordering it, but I did get it pretty shortly thereafter. PlayStation 4, I waited on because it was not backwards compatible with PlayStation 3. Yeah. Exactly. I'm starting to think the PlayStation 2 just loads the. Because if I'm not mistaken, how the PlayStation 2 is backwards compatible is it's actually just an emulator in there. You just have to have the disc to give it the ROM. And I have a feeling it just loads the entire disc into its RAM for the emulator. Well, I'll know for certain once I've done about 5 of these. But if we're getting right at 46 seconds, then that's probably what the PlayStation 2 does. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's doing. Win the chance to buy one. I think the PlayStation 2 was just loading the ROM into the PlayStation 2's RAM, rather than running it through its in-store emulator. Which probably means if you had a hard disk of ROMs, you could probably play them through the PlayStation 2. I mean, the PlayStation 2 was a bit, even from the get-go, was able to take a hard drive. Just they weren't installed from the get-go until the PlayStation 3. Well, I knew if I wasn't on top of the PlayStation 5, the scalpers would get in there and get too many of them. That would have been 46 if I actually hit right when the screen came up. I don't need to do any more of the PlayStation 2. the the load times are almost exactly the same. Yeah, it did. And I like the PlayStation 5. It's a great console. I think I jumped the gun, really, because there's only been... I mean, I've bought a handful of games for it, since then. But when I bought it, when I did do that, there wasn't even a game out there I wanted to play with it. All right, so we're gonna do the emulator now. So I need to drop this. I also need to look up. I want to test it between BizHawk, GitHub. That's perfect. Okay. So I used 2.8, but we'll start with. Yeah, we'll do the one that I was using. Oh, so it is I was using 2.9. Okay. Wasn't using 2.8. Okay. So even BizHawk is faster. Okay. 8. But the reason they use BizHawk for task videos is because all the loading screens take the same amount of time. So this one should be right at 48 seconds as well. I'm only going to do it twice. If it runs in the same time or relatively close, then... I've got to get better. Well, that did not work out well because I did not have the ship in this. Not repeat core. There's another thing I can check too while I'm still in BizHawk. 29. Damn it. It's gonna be gone. Yep. I'll try. Okay, Lefty. So, I tested with original PlayStation. I've tested with PlayStation 2 OG. And now I'm testing the emulators. A couple of emulators. I'm testing it only up through first UFO because there is a manip on the PlayStation versions that allows you to get the same UFO the same way, same thing every time, up until you actually enter the equipment for phase. So yeah, I've only tested it on. I tested on the OG, and that was faster than the original PlayStation. Because I have been speedrunning this game on the original PlayStation and slowly setting personal bests. But me and the other moderator on the speedrun.com thing have discovered that there's a significant difference in load times between the emulators. The emulator that he used to get the world record and my original PlayStation of almost 30 seconds for that first UFO. Which obviously is a huge deal over the course of a run. So we are trying to decide whether we're going to ban certain emulators or if we even have to split up the leaderboard even further into original hardware and emulators and then limit it to only certain emulators. And that was 46 seconds. 48 seconds, actually, because I wasn't paying attention. So yeah, the Emu Hawk. All right, I'm going to change the core. See if that makes a difference. to Octoshock. Gives me that wide view. I did see something I need to change. But I'm guessing, so on the PlayStation 2, I was making this, because the load times were pretty much the exact same every time. My guess is with the PlayStation 2 with an original PlayStation 1 disc, is because I do know for a fact that the PlayStation 2 uses an emulator to be backwards compatible with the PlayStation 1 games. So my hunch is it's not loading the game from the disc, it is loading the ROM from the disc onto the PlayStation's RAM and then running the game from that. So the loading times end up being the exact same all the way across. Well, welcome. Bring it over here to Twitch. I was testing with the original PlayStation 2, but right now I am testing on emulator because I don't have a PlayStation 2. Actually, my boys do somewhere. Not going to go digging it out though. The testing is because we are working on me and the other mod on the speedrun.com site are testing to see how bad the load times are compared from the emulator compared to the original PlayStations. Because even though it's not, yeah, it's 48 seconds. It doesn't matter. BizHawk is 48 seconds, period. Okay. So I'm going to close out of it here. Oops, that's over here. That's where I went. Okay, BizHawk 2. But what I was saying is, I believe cores for the Flea SX. Did like Octoshock configuration, core settings, Octoshock. See. Fuck is that from where? Yep, oops. Using a different ROM. Where did you go? Huh. Well, that's interesting. For F's sakes, this is going to get a little ridiculous, ain't it? So, Well, then it's running it really good. And it's getting all the data it needs right away. Window size, file, open ROM. View, window size. I don't think I want to do full screen. I do want to do portrait. Oh, that's weird. Then it still loads up pretty fast compared to the PlayStation 2 because it's a 10-second difference between PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 for those load times. And that's what we're trying to figure out, what's going on. So it does not like BizHawk 1.0. Huh. Okay. Delete that. That's fine. But yeah, even but with the emulator too, it's so the PlayStation 2 was loading up XCOM in 46 that first UFO in 46 seconds. No. But so I'll show you what I'm talking about here. We'll start up the PlayStation 1. Actual PlayStation 1. This is like an OG PlayStation 1 too, the big brick. I gotta get a better capture card for it though. But yeah, it was loading it up with 46 seconds almost precisely every time. So what we're doing, this is on the original PlayStation 1. We're trying to figure, because this is obviously speed running, if there is a disparity in the loading times, it's going to be make a disparity in the leaderboard. And we may end up having to do one of two things, either banning emulators altogether for the leaderboard or separating them out into two categories. Original hardware and emulator. So the Emu Hawk, so using PlayStation 2 or Emu Hawk, them two are within the same thing, so you could use both on that leaderboard, but you can't use, for example, EXPSXE, EPSXE, because that loading time was in the 30-second range for this first UFO manip. Which I don't know if you know about it or not, but I'll go ahead and show it to you. You start off by starting up the game, and it doesn't matter when you start the game, but from beginning, you need to send your first base down into the Arctic, and then just start going through the days. You now center on the UFO, go to intercept, then cancel out of intercept, and then wait till it's a daytime mission. Anytime after 1857, but before 2000. Because 2000 the ship takes off. And this is the loading screen we're checking it. I'm checking it on because it's easy to get into, and I don't have to run through a whole game or a whole run to get to certain spots. So 53 seconds for the PlayStation 1 there. So now you equip the first guy with the pistol, hit OK, and you don't move the screen. You just hit circle and select. That allows you to select the first alien you see, and then you select the snapshot off the pistol and fire at him. When you kill the alien, you could pre-select 3 start button presses to bring your menu here, and then you set your game options. Press back once, hit 6, press up once, hit 6, hit OK. Start, and then X to bring Virgil over. Select twice to grab this lady. I'm not going to pronounce her name. Set your cursor here, and it puts her in the right spot for the next turn. Hit start and turn. Next turn. Don't move the screen again. Grab Virgil, who's here, and move him directly into the UFO. Just one step in. Now, you don't do anything with him. You select her again. Right select auto shot, and then shoot at the alien. It's going to take 2 auto shots. The third bullet will hit the alien, and the second bullet from the second auto shot will hit him and kill him. It has to be auto shot, otherwise the alien won't die. Now you select Virgil, but you don't select your shot yet. You move your cursor over the alien. Now you select your shot from the rifle with auto shot, and it has to be auto shot, otherwise it won't kill him, and the first shot should kill the alien. Here you can press twice to get yourself pre-selected for the menu, and that's the end of the UFO. And that does work on emulator, PlayStation 2. It works on all the PlayStation ways you can play this on PlayStation. But as you can see, for a speed run, having a disparity in the load times, even though the PlayStation has its own disparity just because of the nature of being a disc-based game, if the slowest emulator is still faster, the slowest emulator is still faster than the fastest time on the PlayStation, then you're not comparing apples to apples. And that's where we're digging into. But I got to get going, folks. I'll catch you next time. I got to get to work. I didn't realize it was after 2. Catch you next time. Bye.